I'd like to take a moment to have a conversation with you about mental and emotional fortitude of courage and the vision necessary that it'll take to climb the mountain of redemption if your story includes stumbles along the way. In such a case, you have to ask yourself, are you willing to attack life with the courage of your convictions, and what is it which you're willing to fight for, come hell or high water? At such a juncture in your life, you have to ask yourself, if you're willing to climb the mountain and be a part of the solution rather than a perceived problem. It's commonly known across Canada, thanks to our friends at Statistics Canada, that approximately 6 million people are addicted to either drugs or alcohol. In order to also give you some global perspective, I also want to highlight the numbers published by the Institute of Alcohol Studies, which reports an estimated 1.3% or 100 million people around the world have a dependency on alcohol. For some comparison's sake, let's consider the following statistics on mental health, authored by the Anxiety Depression Association of America, who report 6 million men across America suffer depression on an annual basis. However, depression among men often goes unreported. More than 3 million men suffer from a panic disorder, agoraphobia, or any type of other phobia across the country, meaning that significant attention also needs to be put into men's mental health. To bring some human levity to this discussion, I want to highlight and share the story of my friend Jonathan Niziol. The day before his 21st birthday, his mother passed away, and his entire life took a shift. After an idealistic childhood growing up on a Canadian farm, what should have been one of the happiest moments and memories of his life, turning 21 and reaching that milestone, threw him into a life of addiction and a near-death experience at the age of 25. These experiences caused Niziol to rededicate himself to his physical, mental, and emotional well-being. And now, motivated by his mother's passing and her legacy, he embarked on a modeling career while battling his own demons. He also faced an eating disorder and a traumatic sexual assault along the way, but now he wants to share his personal story of triumph and overcoming the darkest hour of his life, to tell people that they are not alone in their mental health journey, and he wants to help people to be their own beacon of courage and live their life with the conviction and courage necessary to achieve prosperity. And Niziol joined me this week to share a piece of his inspirational, encouraging, and thought-provoking story, which will cause all of us to take a moment to stop and really appreciate what it means to live an authentically meaningful and purposeful life. I'm Kevin McShann. Let's have this conversation. Jonathan, if you're ready, I'll take a moment to welcome you to the program, my friend. And I'm super excited to learn all about your story and journey of perseverance and overcoming obstacles, my friend. It's great to see you, and happy Thursday to you.
Thanks, Bud. I appreciate that.
Absolutely. Now, Jonathan, I know that you've got quite the story of both perseverance and overcoming adversity, my friend, and it all started for you when you turned 21. So I'm wondering if you could tell me your story and how you got to where you are today, my friend.
Yeah, so it's I had a really great life growing up, a really, storybook childhood growing up on a farm in Canada. And like you said, it was the day before my 21st birthday when my mom passed away very suddenly and very unexpectedly. And she and I were very close, and she was my best friend, my biggest fan. And it really rocked my world because, being at that age anyway, it's really hard to navigate life, and you're just leaving adolescence and trying to, like, dip a toe into adulthood. So it really rocked my world, and I didn't really know how to handle it. And I just, for the first couple of years, I kind of kept it together. But following that, I started to be diagnosed with some mental health issues, such as severe anxiety and clinical depression and panic disorder and self-harm and stuff like that. But I thought the best way I could deal with it was to self-medicate, and I was drinking, and I just drank a lot and became an alcoholic. And by 25, I was a non-functioning alcoholic, and I got really lucky because I got very sick with a bad case of acute pancreatitis, and that put me in the hospital for just under a month, and I had to have 5 blood transfusions, and I almost died twice, and I lost 60 pounds when I was in there, 40 pounds in the first 2 weeks, and it really scared me straight. And I haven't drank any alcohol since. It's been 16 years, but I've dealt with a lot of other stuff since that. But that was the first big turning point.
Yeah, absolutely. And, Jonathan, I wanted your perspective on what do you think it means to be mentally and emotionally a sort of vulnerable? How do you think it can lead to a position of courage in your view? What are your views there, my friend?
That's a tough question because I'm just learning this as I go, and the vulnerability that I'm sharing now has only come within like the last year, I would say. There are a couple things that happened that I never thought that I would talk about, but the more I talked about my story, the more I talked about what I've been through with drugs and alcohol, and having an eating disorder and like stuff like that, the more the more empowered I felt. At first, I was terrified. Don't get me wrong; it's absolutely terrifying telling people your secrets, and like breaking this veil of like everything's perfect, everything's fine, and having these conversations. But the more I talked about it, the more empowered I felt, and the more helpful it was for me. But also in talking to other people and in doing programs like your own, like yours, and being invited on here to talk about stuff like that, and connecting with people and hearing their stories and learning from them, it's really helped me grow. And it's, I wouldn't change all the things that I've been through, and talking about them doesn't make me any weaker, or doesn't make me weak or anything like that. It's quite the opposite. Like, vulnerability is power, I'm learning.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Jonathan, what's uh, your sort of thought or perspective on the value of perseverance? What do you think that means to you?
That's everything. It is absolutely everything. Persistence, perseverance is absolutely everything. That's the reason that I'm still sitting here in front of you. That's how I live my life. That's really the idea of, and the philosophy of, don't give up. I mean, there's so many times throughout my life, through the things I've been through, with the things that I've been through, that I've thought about, you know what? I just want to give up. Like, I'm never going to live a normal life. I'm never going to be normal. I'm never going to be okay. Like, I just want to give up. But a little part of me was just from how I was raised and how my beliefs and stuff was like, nope, that's not going to happen. Especially being an athlete and growing up on a farm, it's that work ethic, that drive, that perseverance where, this is not going to get me. And, you got to press on and got to keep going. And it's everything. It's absolutely everything. If you can't find a solution at first, then try the next one. Don't just give up on the first thing that doesn't work. It's like, you've got to keep going. So it means everything.
Yeah, absolutely. And Jonathan, how do you think you honor your mother's legacy with each day that you're honored to live, my friend?
I think being the person who I am and am trying to be and learning and growing to be, and that perseverance and not giving up and battling through the things that I have, I think are, what make her the most proud, because I believe that she's, looking down on me and sees what I'm doing. And I think that is what she wanted. She was always the kind of person who had a lot of time for everybody and anybody. And I'm very much the same way, because there's no such thing as a nobody to me. I think it's disgusting when people put themselves above somebody for any reason, whether it's because of their looks, because of their muscles, because of their bank account, because of their job title, I don't care about any of that kind of stuff. I don't care. Everybody, I think, is everybody's a somebody. We're all just the regular people. Like, I don't care. So I think that's the biggest thing, is that perseverance and that consistency and growing and fighting through those things to become and keep being who I am in her honor. And from what my father has taught me as well, I think that's the biggest way that I have and continue to honor her legacy and growing it to be, the adult that I am.
Yeah, absolutely.
And trying to be.
Absolutely, my friend. And tell me, what do you think it means to be a beacon of courage? How do you define that, my friend?
That's a good question. I don't know. I mean, I just think I'm just a regular guy. I mean, I think, I don't know. I mean, I look at a lot of courageous people in a lot of situations, and I see courage around me all the time. And I see courageous people, and I see, people who, you can take things from and look at and see people, living their lives and working hard and doing what they're doing. And I'm just a regular guy. So I don't know if I'm the right person to ask, but I mean, I think we're all courageous. Like, we all try and be courageous and in our own ways and stuff. And it's important to acknowledge that in ourselves and in others, and to really, to see that. And like I said, to take, you're having a bad day and then you see somebody who, is going through a tougher situation or different things. And it's, you can't really compare, tough situations to one another, but yeah, I think it's just important to really look around and appreciate the world for what it is, and what the gifts that we have and the blessings that we have, and to know that we're all fighting and trying to be courageous.
Yeah, and Jonathan, I'm fascinated to ask you, why do you think it's important for men specifically to lean into talking about mental health, their mental health journey specifically? Because sometimes men are hesitant to do that, but why do you think it's important for their own personal growth and societal growth as well? So why do you think that's so important?
I think it's exactly like you said, because a lot of men are hesitant to do so and to have these conversations and to admit that there's something going on or there's something wrong. I mean, growing up, being the age that I am, mental health wasn't talked about societally, but especially as a man, it was like, just push through. And, it's okay to talk about things and to admit that, we've made mistakes, and to acknowledge things. And for the longest time, I didn't want to go to therapy because that macho thing I had where I thought, therapy is for wimps, and, I'm above that, and I'm not going to sit there and have somebody judge me and all that kind of stuff. So I think it's important to drop that stigma and to really, open up and to keep a good circle around you. I have a couple of my best friends who, I'm a very private person. I've just started doing this within the last year and talking about this more publicly. But even though when I was going through a lot of my stuff with drug addiction and stuff like that, I was very private. But if I ever needed to talk, I had my close friends, guy friends, who were also, they felt the same way. And we could just sit on the phone for a couple hours and just kind of talk about what's going on in their life or what's going on in their lives and stuff like that. So I think it's a really important thing to do because, like you said, people are so hesitant to, and we're kind of expected as men to just kind of, put on a brave face.
Yeah, absolutely. And, Jonathan, I know that you believe that educating ourselves during our mental health journey is also important. So, why do you think education is such a big piece to this discussion?
I think it's a massive part of it, and it's something I've learned over my 20 years of dealing with mental health issues and addiction issues and stuff like that. But especially with regards to the mental health, is this brain of ours is such an incredible tool, and the way in which it works, it can be your greatest asset or your biggest enemy. It's really important to learn how it works, and then if you do find out you are going through something, like I found out, after I just thought I was going crazy and I finally went to the doctor, when I found out I was dealing with anxiety and depression, I'd never heard those words before. So I needed to educate myself on what was happening to me physically, because, they're mental conditions, but they have physical effects where you feel panic or you feel anxiety or you feel depressed, and understanding why you are feeling that way. So then you can rationalize and really put into perspective and understand what's going on with your body when it's happening. I think it's really important to educate ourselves. I think the human body is such a fascinating mechanism, and just learning more and more about it. And especially, like I said, if you are dealing with something, or somebody who's dealing with something, educate yourself on why are they feeling that way, or why are they acting that way, or why am I feeling that way. I think it's a really important thing.
Yeah, and Jonathan, I'm curious to ask you, during your struggles with addiction and alcohol, what do you think motivated you to want to climb the mountain of redemption?
I knew that I wasn't living the life that I was meant to live. I was trying my best, and I was distracting myself from my feelings and my thoughts and all the things that I hadn't dealt with, from my mom dying and all the other things that I had gone through. But I was trying my best. But I knew that for myself, I wasn't living the life that I was meant to live. And even though it was an easy way out, I feel like it just got to a point where I got sick and tired of not feeling good and going through this cycle of addiction. And I just said, you know what? Enough is enough for me. I have to do something different, because I've been doing this for 15 years and it's not working, and I need to do something drastically different. And that's when I realized that, yeah, I needed to push through and I needed to take the steps. And things got a lot harder before they got a lot easier. Things got a lot darker and a lot harder before they got easier. So, but that was the thing. I was with that same mentality with athletics and working on the farm, I was I'm going to roll my sleeves up and I'm going to get to work. I'm going to beat this. This is not going to beat me. And that was my mindset, and it still is today. And I have to keep on top of it, because I find myself having a propensity because I have an addictive personality. So I know that I can't dabble in any kind of drugs or any kind of recreational anything, because I know that, my mind will say, oh, let's do that all the time now. So I know where my lines are, but it was hitting that breaking point, and having dozens of rock bottoms, dozens and dozens of rock bottoms over the course of 15 years, that really just enough was enough. This wasn't the life that I was supposed to be living for myself, for my family, for those around me, just for society. I needed to do better for myself, and that was it.
Yeah, and Jonathan, if you could go back and tell your 21-year-old self one lesson that you've learned throughout your journey to this point, what do you think you would go back and tell yourself?
I would tell myself, because the day I turned 21, I thought my life was over as I knew it because my mom had died just the day before. I would go back and I would tell myself, things are going to be hard. You are going to go through struggles. And it's going to seem bleak at times. There are going to be positive times, but there are going to be a lot of negative times. But persevere and don't give up because it will be okay. You will get through this. It will take time, and understand that you need to go through everything that you're going through, but you will be okay. And I wouldn't change. I wouldn't say don't do this. Don't. I would. I've needed all of the struggles that I've gone through to make me the person that I am today. So I wouldn't steer I would say do what you have to do, but just know that it's going to be okay. Because for 15 years, even after I started doing therapy, for 17 years or so, I never thought it was going to be okay. And I'm finally learning that, hey, I am okay. And I am working hard and doing so that would be a great thing to know, that just, hey, things are going to get pretty rocky here, but you know what? Things are going to be okay in the end. Just be yourself, persevere, push through, persistence, and it will be okay. Just don't give up.
Yeah, absolutely. And Jonathan, tell me, I'm fascinated to ask you, on the other side of the coin now, what gets you most excited about celebrating and living life?
Just life itself, honestly. I spent so many years of my life inebriated and doing everything I could to be under the influence of something and not experiencing life, to distort my reality. I spent so many years doing that. And now I really relish life and its ups and downs, and being clear-headed and getting to experience all that life is with a clear head for me. And I'm not a preachy person where I think everybody should be sober, everybody should not drink. No, not at all. That's not I think everybody should do as they want as they please, by all means. But I really relish life and the fact that I'm aware and sober and cohesive and actually living it, and the ups and downs and things that come with it. It's a wonderful thing. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, and Jonathan, as an old sports reporter, I have to ask you this question, buddy. I know that sports has played a major role in your life, my friend. So tell me about the role sports has played in your life and why you love sports so much, my friend.
Oh man, athletics. I've been an athlete all my life, and I always will be an athlete. I still play hockey 4 times a week, whatever it is. I have to be physically active every day, and I love sports because of the lessons that it's taught me, because of the lessons like winning and losing, and dedication and hard work and practice, and the camaraderie of being on a team, and working hard to make the all-star team, whatever it is, all those things. And also the physical, the fact that I play hockey 4 times a week even now, and when I'm on the ice, I am the most present in that moment than I am with any other part of my day, because I'm not thinking about what bills are due or what I have to do or what emails I have to send. I'm thinking about that puck and the other players on the ice, because I have to be completely present. And with sports, unless if you're not present, then everybody just goes running by you and you are left in the dust. So it's absolutely, and like that, like I said before, that athlete's mindset of pushing through and not giving up and not ever folding or throwing in the towel is just, it's everything. And it's, like I said, I'm an athlete. I've always been an athlete my whole life, and I always will be an athlete. It's in me to my core, and I absolutely love it.
Yeah, absolutely. And my friend, I know that you're also a certified personal trainer, and I want to share just a little bit about myself, my friend. So, Jonathan, I was born with what's called spastic quadriplegia cerebral palsy. Simply means that I don't have enough oxygen in my life to walk normally. And Jonathan, I found out the day or the summer of my fourth grade year of elementary school, my friend, that I wouldn't be able to walk without assistance for the duration of my life because of the severity of my cerebral palsy. But one of the hashtags that I live my life by is always active because, as a condition of my disability, if I don't use my muscles, I lose them, right? So
Mm-hmm.
one of the reasons fitness is so important to me is because that's the way that I can diversify my perspective on life. So tell me, my friend, why is fitness so important to you, and why do you think others should take their fitness journey seriously?
Yeah, that's incredible. That you have that outlook, and you're absolutely right. I mean, it's movement is absolutely everything. I love going to the gym and seeing everybody of all body shapes and all like in all aspects of their fitness journey, whether it's their first day or they've been going for 20 years, or people out for a walk or doing whatever, because it means they're taking control of their fitness and they're making it a priority. And I love seeing that because, like you said, once we become sedentary, then for me, it's I have to do something physical every day, and I have rest days every once in a while, but I have to do something physical, or else my mind will start to go and really start to play tricks on me. I get in my own head, and I need to, like I said, I need to like with my dog when she gets a little like really antsy, she needs to get her wiggles out, just go run around the yard for a bit. And I feel like I'm the same way. I need to get out and I need to just like get that out and move my muscles and move my body. And I think it's really important for others too, because this is a wonderful gift that we're given, having these bodies and having the abilities that we do, and in whatever capacity that is. It's like you said, I mean, fitness is a huge part of your life. And even though you learn that at in the fourth grade, you didn't let that stop you. You made it your mission now, and you've succeeded and achieved great things. And it hasn't slowed you down. And I think that's what it's all about, is learning that, and taking as good a care of our bodies as we can, and really making them a priority, because it's the most important.
Yeah, absolutely. And, Jonathan, I'm a big believer that our life experience can be a contributor to our overall prosperity in life. So tell me, how do you think your life experience has helped you lead to your own version of prosperity?
Oh, in every way, shape, or form. I mean, the good and the bad. I mean, it's made me the person that I am today. I mean, like I said, I wouldn't, if I could go back and change anything, I wouldn't change a thing, because every mistake that I've made, every success that I've had, every failure, every whatever, everything has made me the person that I am today. And I'm very happy with the person I am today. I'm always working to be a better person for myself and for society, and to learn more about helping others and that kind of stuff. But I think absolutely our life experiences are what mold us. And it's I remember when I was really heavily inebriated and under the influence and all that kind of stuff, and I think back to like friendships that I had at that time and that I don't have anymore. And for the longest time, it really didn't sit well with me that they only knew me as an alcoholic or a drug addict and not as who I am today. But I've come to learn that it's okay that people will know you as a certain version of who you are, and then they go on with their lives and you know them as that same person that they were, and that's okay. Like, we keep in touch with some people, and other people we don't. And now with social media and stuff, it's a lot easier to kind of keep in touch. But I think it's accepting that where nobody's ever been perfect, ever, never, nobody ever will be perfect, and to live by our mistakes, and to learn from our mistakes, and to embrace them, and to forgive ourselves. The biggest thing of all for me is I've learned in the last year to like start forgiving myself for the things that I've done, and the things that I've done by choosing like the wrong path. But like I said before, I was trying my best. Or forgive myself for the things that have happened that I didn't choose, like my mom dying. And that it's okay. It's just a part of life. But I forgive that happened, and I'm just doing my best. So I think it's, yeah, being the person you are today is everything to do with your life experience, and in really embracing your life experiences, the ups and the downs and all the in-betweens.
Yeah, so just following up on that, I'm curious to get your perspective on the concept of both inclusion and acceptance of all people, and how you define doing that effectively.
Oh, I think everybody's, like I said before, I think everybody, we're all just people. I don't care if you're a so-called a celebrity. I don't care. Like I said, I don't care what kind of car you drive. I don't care whatever. I don't care what skin color you are. I don't care about anything. I think we all deserve each other's respect, and we're all just doing life and trying to do the best that we can in our own lives. And I think it's the most important to understand that about people, and to lead with grace and respect to everybody, whether it's somebody who is doing a manual labor job, or somebody who's the president and CEO of a company or a country, whatever. Everybody, I think, is on the same level, and you don't know who's going through what kind of days and what they've been through. So it's most important to really focus on the people as they are and as they put before you, and not to judge a book by its cover, or to cast aspersions or anything like that. To really just remember, we're all just regular people. We're all just normal people, just trying to do our best.
Yeah, and Jonathan, if I give you a budget of $1 million to promote and produce a commercial about overcoming addiction or alcoholism, or if I give you an audience of people that were trying to recover from those addictions, what do you think your main message would be to the audience or anyone watching this today? What do you think your message would be about the value of perseverance and uh, coming out the other side? What do you think your message would be?
It would be exactly what you said. It would be the value of persistence and perseverance, and understanding that things will come in time. Yes, it's hard to choose sobriety, or to choose to get rid of a substance or whatever you're going through, but keep fighting the good fight, and to know that you can absolutely do it. Have more belief in yourself, and because of that, perseverance and that persistence is the biggest thing. It really is. I mean, that's the main message, I think, is to give yourself more credit and focus on the positive. That's the biggest thing that got me through my darkest times. Is even in a day, if I was having a miserable day where I could barely get out of bed, I would get up to take my dog out, because when I got her, I promised that I would do everything in my power to give her the best life that I could. So I had a responsibility to her, and just her helping me get out of the house during the day. And when that little bit of positivity, I would focus on that, and try and focus on that more so than all this other negativity I had going on. And as I got better, and some days that positivity would be way bigger, and that negativity would be smaller, and some days it would shift back and forth. But more now, it's more positivity, and really focusing on the positive, and really trying not to focus on the negative, and know that as humans we are extremely adaptable, and we can do things, and go and find help, talk to a professional, listen to listen to podcasts, or things like this, where you can find things, maybe learn some tools to relate, or if you help somebody who's going through something. But perseverance, persistence, exactly like you said, that's what it's all about. That is absolutely what it's all about.
Yeah, absolutely. And Jonathan, what do you think it means to have elite emotional courage?
I mean, that's a tough question. I mean, I think I don't know if I have that. I mean, um I think acknowledging your emotions, and like I said, acknowledging your courage is the important thing. And I don't know what it means to do it at an elite level. I'm just doing my best as a regular guy. But I think having emotional courage is the courage to recognize your emotions, positive and negative, and to face them and to do something about them, with them. Don't try not to ignore them. It's I spent 15 years trying to distract myself with substances and all kinds of stuff. And yeah, to really acknowledge your emotions and the things that you're dealing with is I think the biggest part, and it takes courage to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I've also, Jonathan, one of the reasons I wanted to start this podcast 3.5 years ago, my friend, is because I wanted, um, first of all, a vehicle to create what I call more social capital and really uh, build relationships, because as a result of my disability, sometimes it's harder for me to get outside and formally connect with people. So I use this platform. One of the ways I use it is by creating avenues of social capital. So tell me about why it's important in your view to build positive and sustainable social relationships.
I think it's really important. Like you said, I mean, whether it's virtually or in person, I think it's really important to recognize good people and to nurture those relationships, and to you know to so when I was an alcoholic, say, I was in a very negative place, and misery loves company. So I would find that I was putting negativity out in the universe and trying to bring everybody down to my level. And I'm in a better place now where I'm more positive than negative on any given day. So I'm trying to bring people up and help people bring them up, and be around people who can do the same thing for me, because I don't always feel that way. And like you said, like building that social capital is a very important thing, because meeting people like yourself, and learning inspirational stories, and learning inspirational tools, and motivational, like, things that you use to motivate yourself. It's everything. It's what life is about. Like, these connections, as human beings, that's what we're wired to do, is connect with the right people, and then make sure you steer clear of the wrong people. And if you notice that somebody's pulling energy and pulling positivity away from you, to make sure that you protect yourself and push that to the wayside, but to really focus on the positivity and the positive people, and to, like you're doing, like, to get this message out there and connect. It's awesome, man. It's the best. It's what life's about.
Yeah, absolutely. And Jonathan, how do you think, as a society, we can do a better job of healing divisions, or the things that sort of tear us apart? How do you think we can bring people closer together and really build those bridges of unity, of understanding?
Honestly, I think a big part of it is people understanding the concept of loving themselves and not being in love with themselves. And there's a very big difference between loving yourself and being in love with yourself. And people who love themselves are, they try and do right by themselves. They don't make mistakes, but they're also quick to lend a hand, or to have a conversation, or to do those kinds of things. And people who are in love with themselves put themselves on a pedestal and think that they are at the top of whatever. And I think there's a very different there are very different things. And the more people can love themselves and not be in love with themselves, I think this would be a better world. Especially with social media and getting likes from people all around the world and all that kind of stuff, it's really easy to get really impressed by yourself, but to not let that turn it into a, like, narcissistic self, or narcissistic love of self, but rather keep humble and keep focused on yourself and love yourself. I think it's a big thing that we deal with in society today. And people, just like I said, leading with grace and being more willing to help one another, and see that other people are just doing their best to get through life.
Yeah, and Jonathan, switching gears for just a moment, I know that you're also a model. So tell me, how has your
Yeah.
modeling career and I know that you also dabble in real estate. So how have those two aspects of your life sort of given you a sense of empowerment, meaning, and purpose, my friend?
They've just been, I mean, modeling is just a job, and it's a very cool job, and it's given me some opportunities to travel, meet some wonderful people, and to be all over the world. And you know, it's something that I've been doing for 14, almost 15 years now. And I really do love and enjoy. Like I said, it's the relationships and the opportunities that it's afforded me. And with regards to real estate, it's always something that I've been passionate or interested in, and never really had the chance to get into, because real estate in Toronto was just too expensive. But I now that I'm in Texas, I'm able to get into it and relishing it and learning. And it's a new challenge, and I love taking on new challenges, and just like doing this and stepping out of my comfort zone with regards to talking about my story and stuff like that. Like, I think, you know, I love that that new challenge of it. And yeah, it's fascinating. It's a good way of being humbled, is, you know, trying something for the first time, and, you know, learning the ups and downs and stuff. And I'm really enjoying it. I love modeling, and I'm really enjoying getting to learn and understand real estate.
Yeah, I've got a trio of questions left for you, buddy. And the first one has to do with what do you think it's okay to stumble in life? Because I think if you stumble, it could be a learning experience. Can it? So tell me, why do you think it's okay to stumble in life?
Because it's exactly what you said. I mean, it's absolutely a learning experience. It's, you know, again, nobody has ever been perfect, and nobody ever will be perfect. So knowing that, embracing the fact that we're going to make mistakes, and learning, but really looking at that mistake and trying to say, okay, what happened, and what is the lesson here, so I don't repeat that mistake, I think is the most important. So it's really important to embrace those, just the same way you embrace your wins and the positive things that happen in our life. It's really important to embrace the times that we stumble and get off course, or make a mistake or whatever, because, you know, you learn something. I always say, and I truly mean, like, I love when I'm having a conversation with somebody and I'm wrong about something, because it means I've learned something new that day. I love that aspect of constantly learning, and constantly learning, like, growing as a person. So yes, I mean, we learn from our mistakes.
Yeah, absolutely. And Jonathan, as you said, you're coming to me today from Texas, buddy, but I know that you're originally from Canada. So tell me, what do
You
you
bet.
think is the best part about being Canadian, and how have you still adopted your Canadian culture deep in the heart of Texas, my friend?
That's a tough one, because I think being Canadian means a lot of different things to a lot of different people. I can only really relate to how I was raised in Canada, and the morals and the values that I was instilled with, as a, you know, as a, I guess, as a Canadian, but more so from my parents and from my, you know, siblings and stuff like that. Like, I think that's the most important thing. And it was, you know, being in Canada, I love Canada as a country. I miss the nature and a lot of things, and a lot of people and stuff like that. But I think the biggest thing that I brought down here, just, I'm the same person. I've just, you know, relocated, and I brought down my morals and my values that were instilled by, or in me, by my parents, and my learning, and my, you know, wanting to become an adult, and learning how I want to live my life, and what kind of person I want to be. And yeah, I brought that down with me. But I do definitely miss, you know, Canadian bacon, like female bacon. I miss the proper maple syrup. I miss, you know, I miss nature. I miss all that kind. I miss a lot of things about being up there.
Well, I have to tell you that there's nothing quite like Canadian maple syrup, right?
This is true. This is very
That,
true.
that's right, buddy. And tell me, what's the one Canadian custom that you've enjoyed teaching to your American friends?
It's a good question. I don't know that there is one really, to be honest. I was very polite. I was very pleasantly surprised by how polite everybody is here in Texas for the most part. I mean, you go anywhere, you can find jerks. You know, like you'll come across them anywhere. There are rude people in Canada. There are rude people down here, depending on. But as a whole, it's been very welcoming and very positive, and that's the thing that I thought that I was going to not encounter coming down here, but it's been quite the opposite. Is how open like people are, and welcoming and polite, and just yeah, like really are about. Like, so it's hard to say. I don't think, like I said, I don't think I've really brought anything. I've taught them about ketchup chips and like where, like you said, where to get the best maple syrup and what poutine is and all that kind of stuff. But as far as characteristics, I think it's just, being yourself, and being yourself no matter where you are, is the most important thing. And yeah, like I said, I was very pleasantly surprised. People here in Texas are extremely friendly. Yeah, it's a great place to live, but I'm just trying to be myself and take that with me wherever I am in the world.
Well, Jonathan, one of the tenets that I live my life by, my friend, is that the only level of expectations you have to meet are your own. So if you can bring
Yes.
some Canadian customs down to Texas, that's not necessarily a bad thing, right?
Sure. Totally. No, I
Uh,
think you're right.
Absolutely. My friend, my final question for you today has to do with your own legacy, my friend, and how you want your personal and professional legacy to be defined.
I just want to be, I just want to continue to be, and to be known as a good person who's got time for anybody, and who, wants to help others and help make the world a better place. However possible. I just, that's all I really want to do is to do that, to be honest. And if by opening up and sharing the things that I've been through can help somebody who's going through a dark place right now, then I'm more than happy to open up and be vulnerable and share that, because I know that when I was going through my dark times, I didn't have these outlets, and it wasn't available the way that it is now, or I wasn't looking for it. But yeah, I just honestly, that's all I want to do. Is I want to just, like you are, I just want to help make the world a better place and put the positivity out there, and to connect with great people like yourself, and to just keep living and doing best by myself and for society.
Yeah, absolutely. And finally, Jonathan, tell me, if people want to get connected with you, my friend, what's the best way they can do that?
So on social media, on Instagram, on TikTok, and my YouTube is all my name. It's Jonathan, Jonathan, Niziol, Niz or Z, Niziol. And then my website and my Facebook page are Jonathan Niziol Official, and I'm sure that'll be all in the show notes and stuff. So, yeah, I love connecting with people. I love that we met and we've been able to connect, and I love hearing from people after I do podcasts, and learning things from them and continuing the conversation and stuff like that. It's fantastic. So I would love to hear from any and everybody, and yeah, that's the best way to get a hold of me.
Fabulous. Well, Jonathan, I really admire your story, your propensity for perseverance in overcoming obstacles, and for your willingness to engage in conversation with me this afternoon. Your work in the space of personal development, of fitness, and everything in between, my friend, is most appreciated, and I want to thank you for being here today.
Thank you very much for having me. And I wanted to say the same thing to you. I really admire what you're doing, and the fact that you're doing it, and you've been doing it for 3 years, and, continuing on and doing it for the right reasons is very admirable. And I know with what you've achieved in your life, and continue to, it's very motivational and inspirational. So thank you very much for having me on and giving me this platform, and giving me this chance. But it's been a pleasure speaking with you and meeting with you. And yeah, I hope we can kind of keep connected and do this again someday.